Hey everybody, welcome to another Rock the Rep. It's Tuesday at 1 p.m. EST, and every Tuesday at 1 p.m. EST, we do another artist. We cover another artist's songs and styles. And this week we are talking Tony Bennett, and really more sort of like the jazz crooner style, but through the lens of Tony and a few of the songs that Tony did. So if you are joining us for the first time ever, the way this works is I give you 3 songs and I give you 3 techniques to apply to those songs. And today, the 3 techniques that I'm going to give you actually apply to all 3 songs. Sometimes it's a song for a technique, but today all 3 will work with all 3 songs. So we're going to talk about 3 things today. The first is we're going to talk about back phrasing. We are going to talk about a crooning style and vibrato. And we are going to talk about vocal bends. Okay, and these are 3 common things that are used in jazz, especially early standard jazz style. So let's talk first about back phrasing. So what is back phrasing? Back phrasing is simply taking the rhythm and pushing it sort of ahead or behind of what the standard rhythm would be. It's easier to demonstrate, so let me just demonstrate for you. So it's like working ahead of the beat or behind the beat rather than on it. So let's start with, we're going to start with my favorite of everything that we're covering this week, which is Who Can I Turn To? I'm going to sing it for you first, where I'm just sticking with the pulse and the straightforward rhythm. I'm going to give you a portion of that, and then I'm going to give you a portion of it where I am back phrasing. Okay, so here it is if it's just straightforward with the pulse. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, beg, steal, or borrow my share of laughter. So now here's if I chose to back phrase that. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, beg, steal, or borrow my share of laughter. So that's back phrasing. So let me show it for you on the next one. Let's do the same thing with our second cut, which is They All Laughed. Okay, so this is a standard Gershwin tune. So here it is if I'm doing They All Laughed, and I'm doing it very straightforward. Oops. The key of C. I'm going to do it in C. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said I was reaching for the moon. Oh, you came through. Now they'll have to change their tune. Okay, so that's if I was just straight on through. Now here it is if I'm playing with the rhythms and back phrasing a little bit. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said I was reaching for the moon, but oh, you came through. Now they'll have to change their tune. Okay, and let's do it one more. We'll do it with our third song too. Here's The Way You Look Tonight. So again, here it is. If I do not back phrase, I just sing it straight on as it is. Each word, your tenderness rose, tearing my fears apart. And that life that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. And I even think I cheated in back phrase there by nature at the end. Here it is if I'm back phrasing. With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that life that wrinkles your nose touch is my foolish pride. So you get the idea. It's going from playing with the straight rhythm and then dancing in and out of it. As long as you are not so far behind that you're behind the rhythm and that the accompaniment is moving ahead of you, then you're fine. Now, I will say that this stuff is easier to do in a live situation where it's not with the track and you're having to push-pull with that. It's much easier to push-pull when you're with a pianist who's playing and following the back phrasing and the rubato with you. But that's an idea of how that, of the effects and how back phrasing can change the song. The second thing we're going to talk about is crooning vibrato. Okay, so this is basically just how crooners treat vibrato. And you can listen to a lot of different ones, but I would say kind of across the board, there is one major way that crooners treat vibrato, and that is it will go from a straight tone into a spin at the end. So like, for example, E, A. It's rarely going to be A, E, and it's also rarely going to be E with no spin. Okay, so let's do it. I want you to hear the difference. I'm going to do, I won't do the whole cut. I won't do all three. We might do. We got sad. So here's Who Can I Turn To. I'm going to do 3 versions of this. Okay, here's Who Can I Turn To if I do straight tone on it, and then I'm going to do only vibrato on it, and then I'm going to croon it. Just the first section. So here it is if I'm just straight toning. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, exhale tomorrow, my share of laughter. Now, through vibrato at the end. Here it is if it's vibrato all the way through. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, exhale tomorrow, my share of laughter. So that's if I did it in vibrato the whole time. So here it is if I give a little straight tone that goes into vibrato, which is what you're going to hear the most in singers like Tony Bennett and the crooning style. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll throw off my sorrow, thanks to tomorrow, my share of laughter. You get the idea, okay? So let's go on. So here it is if we did it on the fast machine. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give you straight tone, then I'm going to give you totally vibrato, then I'm going to give you crooning vibrato. So you get the idea how all of these will sound together. So here is straight tone. They laughed at me, wanting you, said I was reaching for the moon, but all you came through, now they'll have to change their tune. Here it is with full-on vibrato. They laughed at me, wanting you, said I was reaching for the moon, but all you came through, now they'll have to change their tune. Now here it is if I mix and match and do a little crooning vibrato. They laughed at me, wanting you, said I was reaching for the moon, but all you came through, now they'll have to change their tune. Okay, so it's like you can plug it in places and pull it out. Okay, let's do it on The Way You Look Tonight. So here it is, straight tone. And then vibrato. And so here it is, completely straight tone. Oh, sorry. I went to Who Can You Turn To? The Way You Look Tonight. Here we go. Doing it again. Your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. touches my foolish heart. Okay, now here it is if it's total vibrato. With each word your tenderness grows, carrying my fears apart. And then that wrinkles your nose, touches my foolish heart. Okay, here it is. It's mix and match crooner vibrato. With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And the wrinkles your nose, touches my foolish heart. Okay, that's crooner tool number 2. So we start with back phrasing, which is ahead or behind the beat, singing. The second is crooning vibrato, and then the third is bending. Okay, so that is simply, now there are different, bends are used all over pop music. In country music, bends they'll become scoops. In pop music, they're a little more, they're not going to dip down and come up. From what I've listened to, country is going to dip down and come up. Pop, especially current pop, is just going to kind of like a cry amp, and crooner is somewhere in between the two. Does a little bit of a move up, a smooth move up, a little smoother than pop today, but not quite as scoopy as country. So where would that be? I'm not going to use the track on this because I think it's easier for you guys just to hear it in isolation on spot. So let's look at, if I did, I'm going to give you a couple of phrases of who can I turn to, and then I'm going to point out where I'm putting a bend in. Okay, so here it is. If I don't put any bends in it, just the first part. Who can I turn to when nobody needs me? Oh, sorry. I was doing the Beatles song. Here's the end. And maybe tomorrow I'll find what I'm after. I'll beg, steal, or borrow, throw off my sorrow, beg, steal, or borrow my share of laughter. So let me go to that phrase right there. I'll throw off my sorrow, beg, steal, or borrow my share of laughter. So I bent on the word my. Here's that phrase again without the bend. I'll throw off my sorrow, beg, steal, or borrow my share of laughter. Here it is with the bend. And I'm kind of doing it a little bit before that too. I'll throw off my sorrow, beg, steal, or borrow my share of laughter. Very common in there. Okay, so let's do it on a little bit on where can we put it on They All Laughed. Okay, let me give it to you. They all laughed straight through. They laughed at me, wanting you, said I was reaching for the moon, but oh, you came through, now they'll have to change their tune. So I'm going to indicate my hand when I'm throwing some bends in, okay? They laughed at me, wanting you, said I was reaching for the moon, but oh, you came through, now they'll have to change their tune. I kind of overdid there. I don't, if I were to sing this, I would not do it as many times as I just did. I just wanted to give you several examples. And then here is The Way You Look Tonight. So here it is with no bends. With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Now I'll indicate the bends, okay? With each word, your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. It's a smaller bend there, okay? So there you go. There are 3 crooning tools. I promise you, if you play with these 3 tools, you're going to hit, I mean, you've got 90% of what you need to do this crooning style. There is one bonus feature, and I encourage you to listen specifically. This is a very Tony Bennett specific. Crooners are kind of known for different things. They all have different sort of calling cards, if you will. So like, for example, Sinatra's is in his phrasing. The way he phrased things, it is unlike anyone else. And in listening to Tony Bennett this week, I think Tony's was in his diction. If you go back and listen to the consonants that he punched, and the way that he used the word to infuse some more emphasis and style. We don't have time to get into it. That's actually probably a whole other live stream. I'm just going to encourage you to listen to Tony Bennett do these and listen specifically to the way he handles his diction and the way that he pronounces and what he does with his consonants. Okay. All right. One final thing before we go. If you've watched this with us this whole time and you would like to be in the studio audience live here with me, where you can ask questions and maybe brought up to work on some of these techniques, you can comment Wail below and we will bring you in and you can coach some of these things. Also, the practice tracks to work with some of these tools that I just gave you, I have them almost all loaded now, but if you'll look in the description of this, give me about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you'll look in the description of this, you will see practice tracks for each one of these songs and these cuts that we worked on today so that you can play with all of these tools. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I will see you next week for, I can't remember if it is Phil Collins first. Here's our next 2. I can't remember which one is which, but we will be doing, I'll give you the title so you can get excited about it. Let me look. It is going to be, Alanis Morissette will be doing You Learn, You Ought to Know, and Uninvited. And then Phil Collins will be doing Against All Odds, Something Happened on the Way to Heaven, and Can't Stop Loving You. All right. So I'm excited to see you for that in the next 2 weeks. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.